right, so good morning, everybody. To see you again. It's been a few weeks, I think, but welcome to another Q for Teams, Champions Using Teams Effectively. I'm Ricardo Wilkins. I think I may be solo today. If you're new to this is office hours, ask me anything kind of place where you can come with your questions, or just hear other champions such as yourself just geek out on teams and collaboration in general. So if you are new, feel free to use the chat or come off mute or raise your hand if you have a question or anything like that. If you're one of the regulars, good to see you again. You know the drill. And so yeah, good to see you again. I was going to start out, I think it was a session or two back. We're talking about some things that I was in my mind saying, okay, I need to create a demo or something of. One of them, I think it was last session, that I wasn't able to show them, but it was the channels experience, the new channels experience. And even in prep for this, I was checking to see, because I don't think that's in GCC yet. I was checking to see the date on that. I did get some confirmation on a roadmap update. I don't know that it's actually documented on the website, but I think it's a rollout starting late July this month, finishing in August. So the new channel experience I'm about to show for GCC should arrive in August. If you're for commercial, it's there already. I saw someone mention Teams 2.0. This would not be necessary. This was not Teams 2.0. 2.0 is like, if you can see here, the checkbox for the new Teams, which is still in preview. That's basically a whole new client. This is just the new channel experience. So I'll explain that a bit here. And so I think I saw in the chat the question, when is it coming to GCC? And I think you're maybe asking about Teams 2.0. I mean, that's in preview for everyone right now. So there's not really a date yet for that in general. So yeah, I don't have a GCC specific date for Teams 2.0, but for this new channel experience, we're looking at August timeframe. And so what that is a couple of things. So the most glaring one being, and again, we're looking at a commercial client now, is that as it hopefully may be obvious to you, our posts here are from newest to oldest from the top, not the bottom. So you will notice the absence of, at the bottom of the screen here, a new conversation button at the bottom. We're seeing start a new post here at the top with the post button there. One of the things that does is, I think, 100% eliminates the long dreaded scenario where someone is trying to reply to a conversation but ends up creating a new post, and their post is no longer associated with that conversation. It's kind of sitting out on its own. It looks like it's okay initially because of how, it's brand new, newest to oldest, but eventually as more messages come in there, you realize it's lost, it's orphaned out in the abyss. I don't think there's a way for anyone to do that anymore, right? If I'm reading this conversation and I want to reply to it, I'm either going to hit the reply here, or I'm going to come up here, and even seeing start a new post, I'm going to somehow think that this would be a reply to. I just can't see that. I don't know if anybody else disagrees, but I feel like this is the real end to that problem that I'm assuming you have experienced with your users in the past as well. So that's one great thing. So starting a new post is big and bolded in your face here, up at the top. I guess you may or may not like reading from top to bottom. I mean, we are several years into reading from bottom to top, so it may just take some time to get used to that. I think it is a little more consistent with other social platforms and forum platforms, so that maybe it won't be so hard to get used to it. But we have our new post up here, kind of all the things you would expect here. with some slight differences. I think one of the main ones being, if you ever do a lot of announcements, that's going to be there and its own little button. Used to kind of be up at the top there. Yeah, you got this here for if you want to post it in multiple channels, things like that. But for the most part, once you get a post started, that experience is still the same. So that's the big thing there. Post at the top with kind of a new experience. The info pane, I think, is a little changed as well. And as we start to pin posts for a channel, I think they show up a little better here than they used to. But you do have, members in the channel or in the team and all of that stuff in a nice info pane. So I think that's a little more enhanced than the little eye that we had previously. Just in terms of the access to, buttons like managing a channel and channel notifications and things like that. In fact, this is a big one because I believe you should be used to channel notifications being here in the three dots near your, where your emojis and whatnot are. If you were a person, I highly recommend being a person who, does their notifications and specifically the conversation notifications, or in other words, the notifications specific to this post. You might think that they are missing there, but we're seeing them here. So these are the channel specific notifications. So that's important. But the main thing that I was trying to demo that I felt like I couldn't before, was this idea of this channel being able to be basically opened in context. So let me show you, for instance. Where was okay? So where was my conversation? Let's go to my activity. All right, so this is Bob talking to me in it was the Contoso General. Okay, so Contoso in the general channel, you can see there's this conversation going. I'm in the channel. I got this conversation. Bob's talking a bunch of stuff. The administrator chimes in. They mention me. I get the pop-up that I would click. And when I do, I think I can simulate that just by going here. What I get is when I click that pop-up or click here over in my feed, it's very subtle, but take a look here. You'll notice that I am taken to that conversation, not to the channel. Okay. It does show me that it does show me, shows me the person is doing it, the conversation, and it's got this go-to channel. If I click that, it takes me over directly to the team and channel that this is in. And now my context, here's the new post button again. Here's that conversation, but also every other conversation. In this case, there aren't any other ones. It takes me there, but initially it's on its own. And in fact, you see a pop-out button. This is, I think, the super cool part, that this channel conversation is a pop-out. And now I'm getting all the feels that I like from my group chats, right? So this kind of has the feel of a group chat. And so what's nice is that, when I am trying to do other work, maybe I'm over in the browser doing something, I can keep monitoring a channel conversation here as a separate window or pop out. So before this functionality or your current GCC functionality, if you're trying to monitor a channel chat, you've got your full, Windows client open, staying on that particular area, or, or monitoring notifications or something like that. So I can both monitor and obviously interact with the conversation here, and it's a channel chat. But what's also nice is just that, again, that stays, I may care about the channel, I may not, but I do care about this conversation. And so I get to focus on that in that context. So, so that's a big thing. At least for me, I find that very useful. And if I go back here, the other thing too is, again, just that go to, that go-to channel. A lot of times I get posts. So I'm in 60 teams probably. 40 of them are hidden. And so I'll get a pop-up that I happen to be interested in. It may happen to be in a team that I rarely use. It's buried, 30 teams deep in my hidden area. It's great that go to channel feature takes me to that team in that channel, because it's a team I'm unfamiliar with. I'm like, where's this coming from? All that good stuff. So it gives me the best of both worlds. I can, again, kind of assuming that this, sorry, come on, assuming this was some buried channel. The best of both worlds is that I can read the conversation and interact with it without having to care about the buried channel and team off in my hidden area. I can just interact with the conversation, pop it out, whatever. But if I am interested in that team and channel and what's the bigger context of this whole thing, I can go there with one click, and it, flies through my list of teams and takes me there. So that's a big thing for me too, because I have a lot of teams that are not used a lot, buried in my hidden, but may get a message every 3-4 months. And I don't like it, trying to, I don't like being confused about, where is this message coming from? What is the context, all that kind of thing. So that is the other cool piece of this too. So I think those are the big parts of this new channel experience, again, coming to GCC in August. Messages top to bottom, enhanced information pane, and this idea of hop outs or in context, channel things here. I know a lot of people are fans of, group chat, and I have heard feedback wishing that some of the important channel chats that you have, wishing those could be here in this interface. I know a lot of us spend a lot of time in the chat area and have ongoing group chats here outside of channels. So if, for instance, that test 1, 2, 3 was a really important conversation for me, it would be nice to have that here. And I've heard that feedback, and not that I've heard any promise that it's coming, but I've heard internally of, people thinking about it, understanding that feedback. So this is a start. So I thought that was worth showing, especially after I finally realized how I could, make it show. Hopefully that was a good demonstration of, how that functionality worked. Any questions, thoughts, or anybody with a commercial tenant or anybody that has used this and got pros or cons for it? Obviously, feel free to come off mute or go in the chat. I see some great features in the and nice and whatnot in the chat there. So yeah, for me, it's all about not having to change context as much as possible. So I think that's going to help there. Can anyone in the team pin, unpin conversations? I believe so. I don't think that's and so what we're describing there is coming into something and saying that this one should be pinned, and it shows up in that area there. And I think that's any member of the team. Could kind of check here, everyone. Yeah, I don't ever remember seeing a yes or no button about that. So I think anybody can pin something. With that being said, given that everyone will see that as their pinned chat, then you just want to make sure you are adding value to the team, right? That you're pinning something that's maybe not just interesting to you only, but that when the rest of the team comes in here, that pin chat would make sense for them too. As a case in points, what kind of things have I pinned in the past? I will pin chats that have key links to other places. I'll pin chats that have a long conversation, so they have, by definition, kind of become a big source of new information just because of how in depth they are. And then yeah, I think those are kind of the two. And then anyone with any key documents that are embedded in it, I have pinned those as well. But I certainly like pinning things that have key links to other places, pinning those there so that it just makes it easy. And then obviously any post that kind of clearly is represents this channel, like, if this is a monthly reports channel, any link that kind of really generally represents monthly reports in some kind of way would be worth pinning. So, but I certainly try not to pin something just because I want to remember it. And I have my own ways of remembering it for myself. I would probably create a task for it in order to remember it, or copy the link and store that somewhere. So, good question. So Melody put a link to the in the chat for learning more about the new channels experience. Actually, I'll copy that, display it here for the recording. Yep, so you can get all the info there. Checking the chat here. Yep, so yeah, that's new channel experience in general. Okay, and again, that's not Teams 2.0. Teams 2.0 involves a bunch of other things. So, and then checking the chat here. Question: one of our organizers added a poll link in Teams and wanted to know how to get some sort of notification when the poll is responded to. Is that possible? Trying to think, because I know a form has a checkbox for email me for each submission. A poll link in Teams. Is that in a? I wonder if that's in a Teams meeting, or I'm guessing a Teams meeting is the context of that. That I'm not sure about. Let me see here. Because forms used as polls, and forms can still be used as polls. They get their own tab, and you got all the forms functionality. So that does certainly have a tell me if someone has responded. But the poll, I feel like maybe not.
Well, hi, Ricardo, it's Glenn.
Yeah.
She said that it wasn't in a meeting, that she somehow put a link to a poll in an email and sent it out.
Oh.
And so in a meeting, she would see the responses, but it wasn't in a meeting. And she was wondering if she can get a flip email or some way of knowing when people respond.
Was it a poll to try to get a meeting time with people? Basically a meeting, like a find time? Okay.
No, I think it was just, do you prefer A, B, or C? Something like that.
Okay. Try to get to my email here. Oh boy, come on. Oh, there we go. New email. Close that. Close all of that. And then probably insert. So that's the scheduling poll. That's the one I was thinking about. It must be that one. Yeah. Okay, which you can kind of see from there is based on form technology. Question would be, it's powered by forms, actually at the bottom there. So if I add that to the email, what we can check is to see, does this show up when I go to forms? Because if it does, then I would think that I could turn on the indicator. So still thinking about it.
Ricardo, I'm actually, because I would have liked to have had that feature too, to be notified when someone completes a form, but I'm not seeing where it will notify me if someone responds.
Okay, let's go here. So let's go here, see view results. What I want is to actually go to forms, the full forms.office. Nope. Take all of that off. Okay, and so I'm not, so let's see. There's my, okay, so there's my poll, but let me just go to an old form. Let's go to a new form. What I am referring to is the response, get email notification of each response.
Okay, I don't have that, so maybe it's not enabled.
Okay, so, and that was a new form in forms, but now let me go back to that one, that meeting or that one I created in the email. And now I'm like lost. Where am I? Okay. Yeah. So here's the one here. Open that up. This form is read only and can't be edited. So this tells me that the polls in the emails are different than a full-blown form that I can control. And let's see if I got settings here. Now it does still give me this, but it seems to be grayed out. So we were almost there, and then we were stopped by the grayed out part. So, so sounds like the answer, Glenn, is no. I'm guessing the answer is no in terms of
Ricardo?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Can you go to responses and go to the Excel file? No, it won't let you do open in Excel.
And I wonder if that's because I don't have any responses yet, maybe for this one. What were you thinking?
I was just thinking doing an alert on the Excel file in OneDrive.
Oh, yep, that could be. So if I went back to, it's hard to navigate through this thing, but if I go back to this one, add a quick choice here, preview it, get some data in there, submit another response. So then if I go back to responses, you're saying there's the file, which that's downloaded it for me. Yeah, so
well, once you download it, it links to your OneDrive. Or click on the folder. No, it just keeps opening new ones.
yeah. What dialogue is all? I mean, this right now is stored. Let's see, enable editing. I think this might be stored locally.
Normally, when you create a form, it saves it in your OneDrive.
Yeah.
Under, I think, APP.
Yeah. So yeah, if this Excel is automatically stored in OneDrive, then you're right. I could create an alert every time that's modified. But it sounds like that'd be the only way for that email poll. We did see though that a normal form does have the setting here, and yeah, so that was not grayed out. So that was a big answer, Glenn, for you. But so yes to forms in general. Looks like no to forms or to polls in emails, because they seem to be slightly different beast. They gets its own little icon there, and clearly is read only. So they do not mean for us to manage it here in forms, apparently.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Interesting question there. And then of course here are my email responses for that full-blown form. I can click to view the results, but not for the email form. All right. Good stuff. And so I'll see some screenshots about the forms. Okay. And then the suggestion about the Power Automate flow. Yeah. Yeah. So certainly if you can control that Excel file, you can start doing a bunch of SharePoint related stuff on it. Good deal. All right, we got a few more minutes. Did anybody come with a question that I kept you from asking because I just started blabbing? If so, feel free to come off mute or use the chat. And we have been doing everything we've been doing has been in commercial. I happen to be in a commercial tenant because of what I was showing. So I'm assuming everything we just described about the forms and the poll and everything applies to GCC as well. I'll switch over to that tenant just for the sake of it. Share.
That's probably why I don't see the get notifications.
Oh.
Yeah, so it must only be in a commercial and not a GCC because someone else
Yeah.
said they don't have it either.
Oh, okay. I'm glad we at least called that out. It's a tad bit unfortunate. Let me go back here. I don't want that one. Let's try this guy. Get out of my way and settings. Yep, you're right. That whole section is missing. I have no explanation for what about GCC is, where that hasn't gotten through yet. So that's good to know. So yeah, in the commercial world, you can be alerted about the input. Doesn't seem to be in GCC yet. So that's a good call out.
Thanks for confirming.
Yep. I'm glad we did that. I would imagine you might have been racking your brain all day trying to figure out, I saw him do it. Why can't I?
Yeah, digging
Yeah.
into stuff on the in the PowerShell. It's like, what's missing?
Right. So wouldn't want that. All right. Anybody else? I think I see some new names this week, so welcome if it's your first time. We are very informal here. Again, come off mute, use the chat. And usually if I can't figure it out, one of these other champions in here can. And also usually I am joined by Stacy. She's out today, and sometime every now and then Nash. So two of my colleagues as well. So good stuff. And all of these recordings are on YouTube. You can use the aka.ms/cute for teams to find all of that info. Go back through over 100 episodes. We've been doing this a while. Good stuff. Right. Let's see here. Can you speak to Copilot in government? Couple things I'll say about it. All my customers are talking about it and asking about it. I mean, obviously, worldwide, it's still preview. It's still new, so hasn't launched. Prevalently, I think maybe the biggest one would be GitHub. Copilot for GitHub is out there, but in general, the Copilot you're thinking of for Microsoft 365, still not out there. I haven't heard yay or nay about it, coming any slower than commercial. I mean, we could just take the normal stance of, maybe 30, 60 days after commercial, but I haven't heard anything, for or against the thought of it either simultaneously shipping or coming later or anything like that. So it's still new, still preview, still way out there for everybody. So really no good info yet for that. And then Loop is also another one. Loop is released in commercial, but I haven't gotten anything definitive on what the situation is with Loop in GCC, because it's certainly not there today. So and I'm not sure about the updates piece. Yeah. So yes, just like back in the day when shared channels was my big thing, and I was dying to demo it for you once it kind of got out of general availability. It's going to be the same way with Copilot. As soon as things start coming out, we'll start demoing it here. So keep joining future weeks. This will be the place where we talk about that stuff and much more. And again, speaking to Loop, so Rebecca sees Loop on the GCC roadmap for September. Oh, Loop is on the roadmap for September. We told this isn't true. Okay, so we don't have any good info on Loop and GCC. But I was just going to say, once it does hit, actually, I'll take that back. I can talk about Loop in commercial just to kind of get you ready, and on the commercial tenant. But we don't really have any definitive piece on that there for GCC. So I'll make a note to perhaps something Loop related for again in a commercial context for our next session. And resource-wise, I would suspect there's something out there on the site. Usually on the support area side. So yeah, there's your standard stuff is out there. There's that, and I'm sure there's a support. Yep, support.microsoft.com for Loop as well. But again, all of this will be commercial specific, at least for now. All right, good stuff. Well, we're at time. Glad to see everybody joining us again, and hit you up in a couple of weeks, and keep it rocking. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and check out the blog for more content.